Yo, what's up, guys? So this is just a quick live stream about parlays. So parlays are obviously, a very common type of bet. And a question comes up like, should I be betting on straight bets? So if I'm really confident the Rockies Nationals game is going to go over 9.5 runs, should I include it in a parlay? How do parlays work? How does the math behind parlays work? So I included a little spreadsheet below, or PowerPoint presentation, kind of breaking down the math behind parlays. And you can absolutely make money betting on parlays. I just locked in this one, and I'm kind of going to take you through the math behind a parlay. So if you think about it, a lot of people think parlays are really complicated. Like, why is Caesars giving me plus 264 odds if I pair these two plays together? But a parlay is pretty simple, right? Any parlay you select where both picks are minus 110 odds. So this is just a parlay calculator from OddsJam. Both legs are minus 110. Our parlay comes out to be plus 264 odds, which is exactly what you see on Caesars. So if I switch this to under, also minus 110 odds, I'm still getting plus 264, right? Your parlay odds are quite simply, they're just based on the odds of each of the legs in your parlay. So we can actually try to find like a basketball pick. So if I go to, the WNBA, it doesn't look like there's any games today. Maybe in the big three, let's see. Anyways, a little annoying. Let's go to AFL. Is there any games? So long story short, any two plays you put together at minus 110 odds in a parlay, your parlay comes out to plus 264. So let's kind of get into the math behind a parlay and how to find profitable picks, right? So at the end of the day, like, if every pick in your parlay is profitable, then your parlay will be profitable. Your parlay, the odds on your parlay, right, are just based on the odds of each of the legs, right? Each of the bets that you include in your parlay. So you can see I went with these three picks on Fliff. I hit it for $250, $250 to win like 5K. In my parlay, I hit all three of these bets. So if all three of these bets are positive EV, are mathematically profitable, then my parlay will be mathematically profitable. So it kind of is a risk tolerance thing, right? Like this Sweden versus Italy bet, which we'll get to here in a second, is really good. So I could include this as a straight bet. I could just bet this, as a straight bet, putting $100 to win 235 in profit. So you can see Fliff has this under at plus 235 odds. So I could just play this as a straight bet. But maybe I find another really good pick, which I did, England versus Denmark, under half, right? So I could either play both of these as straight bets, or I could include them in a parlay. If both plays are profitable, then the parlay will be profitable, right? So it's kind of up to you. It's kind of a risk tolerance thing, right? This is obviously a very juicy parlay. I'm betting 250 to win like 5K. But if I didn't want to take as much risk, I could have placed each of these bets as, straight bets. I could have put $250 on this, or $100 on this, and $100 on this. So parlays, you can make money betting them, and it's kind of just up to you. It totally just depends on your risk tolerance, right? If you want a higher payout opportunity, then you're going to place parlays. So let's kind of get into the math behind a parlay. So what you need to do to figure out how profitable your parlay is, what the profit margin of your parlay is you need to know what is the win probability for each of your bets, right? So to win a parlay, all I have to do to win my 3-pick parlay right here, Sweden versus Italy, under half of a first half total goal, same in the England-Denmark game, and then Jose Barrios, under 17.5 outs, right? To win a parlay, I just have to win these 3 bets. So to figure out the profit margin of my parlay, I just need to know all of these events are uncorrelated, right? It's 3 different games. So to figure out what's the probability my parlay wins, I just need to know the probability each of my leg wins, right? Which is called the implied win percentage, the fair win percentage, whatever. And then for this parlay, I'm betting $250 at plus 1851 odds, roughly, plus 1850.61 odds. That's the odds on my parlay. So once we know the win probability for each of these legs, right, we can just multiply that together, right? We multiply the win probability for each of these plays together. That gets us the win probability of our parlay. And then from there, we know the odds. We know how much we're betting to win how much. We can figure out the profit margin. So let's start here in the Sweden-Italy game, right? So first of all, why is this play good? And I've explained this before, but like sports betting is pretty simple. It's all about, finding value in the market. And you're never going to be able to create a better model on your own than the sports books. A lot of people think, oh, the way I'm going to beat the sports books is I'm going to create this model that's going to predict the future, right? It's going to tell me how many goals are going to be in Sweden, Italy, in the Women's World Cup. It's not the way you beat, right? These are billion-dollar companies, DraftKings, FanDuel, billion-dollar companies. You're not going to beat these sports books by just, creating your own little model that's smarter than theirs. The way you beat sports books is all these books set lines independently. So if you think about like the price of Facebook, it's $291. There's no disagreement. You go to Fidelity, you go to E-Trade, the market is very efficient, right? You go to Robinhood, E-Trade, any platform you can trade stocks, Charles Schwab, you're going to see this is the price, right? It's $291.48. It's Facebook stock. That's what it's worth currently, right? Whereas you think about the price of this bet, it's the exact same bet, right? If in the first half there's 0 goals, this bet is going to win. But all these books have vastly different prices, vastly different odds, right? So you can see right here, like, okay, Desert Diamond is some sports book. They're pricing this at plus 185. DraftKings is pricing this at plus 170, right? And you can see they've actually been ripping odds lower. Pinnacle, so this sports book right here, Pinnacle, is known to be the sharpest sports book out there, one of the smartest books out there. You're going to see the same thing. They've ripped odds lower. Odds are ripping towards the under. So because all these books set lines independently, we can look at Fanatics, right? They've been moving odds lower. So because all these books set lines independently, right, they all price these bets independently. That also means they all have to move odds in sync, right? So we can see all these sports books have been moving odds lower on this bet. So the under is becoming more favored, right? Sports books have moved this line from like, plus 230 to plus 180-ish. So sports books are saying, whoa, we initially had the under at plus 230, a really big underdog. Now we think it's less big of an underdog. This should only be like plus 180. The under is more likely than it initially was. Right? Maybe lineups changed. Maybe a really good player who scores a lot got injured. Or maybe just all the sports betting syndicates, the really sharp bettors, have been piling in on the under. So sports books are moving lines in favor of the under. But long story short, you're going to see Fliff is asleep at the wheel, still giving you plus 235 odds on this play. So it's pretty simple, right? Every sports book is a data point. And you look at all these books, right? They're all pricing this around like, plus 180, plus 185. Fliff is giving you plus 235, right? 50 cents of improvement. This isn't a lock, but it's a play with an edge, right? All OddsJam is doing is scanning. If you think about how many sports books there are, all OddsJam is doing, so this is Underdog Fantasy, right? You can see they have tens of thousands of lines available. All OddsJam is doing is scanning all these lines and pointing out big discrepancies in the odds. So now we need to know, okay, what's the win probability for this bet? So what we can do is we can look at the odds on Pinnacle Sportsbook. Again, we'll just simplify this. Again, every sportsbook is a data point, right? So if only Pinnacle was posting odds, that would kind of stink because we'd be like, okay, we found a big discrepancy between Pinnacle and Fliff, but it's still not really clear, like, what's the good bet here? But the fact that we have, dozens of sports books posting odds, or, not dozens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The fact that there's like 8 sports books posting odds, all telling us this line should be set around plus 180, and we're getting plus 235 on Fliff, we have a lot higher confidence, right? Fliff is screwing up versus literally every other sports book. Every other sports book, this plus 235 looks crazy good too. So we have more confidence. But to keep this simple, we'll look at Pinnacle. So what you have to remember, right, is sports books, they tell you win probabilities, right, through their odds. So what I mean by that is if a team is a minus 200 favorite, that means they're a 2-to-1 betting favorite, right? They're 2/3 to win the game. Minus 200, 2/3 to win, 66.67%, right? if a team is a plus 200 underdog, they're a 2-to-1 underdog, right? They're winning the game 1 out of 3 times. They're a third to win the game. So a team that's a minus 200 favorite is 2/3 to win the game, 66.67%. If they're minus 300, right, then they're a 3-to-1 favorite, right? They're winning the game 3 out of 4 times. They're 75% to win the game. So sportsbooks, they tell you win probabilities through their odds, right? A minus 300 favorite is 75% to win, whereas a minus 200 favorite is only 66.67% to win, right? Everything you have to think about in terms of probabilities, right? Teams, outcomes are always favored. A team could be a minus 150 favorite or a minus 1,000 favorite or a minus 2,000 favorite, right? There's different levels of how big is a favorite. How likely are they to win this game? Or, how likely is it to go over or under? So if we go back here, you can see Pinnacle, right? So let me open up all these bets. So we have the England one, and then we have Jose Barrios. And again, we're just going to look at Pinnacle to keep this simple. Is you're going to see they have their market minus 224 plus 181, right? Minus 224 plus 181. However, this market has the VIG, right? This market has the VIG baked in. So what this calculator does, a no-vig odds calculator, is it removes the VIG. So this is how sportsbooks make money, right? They charge a spread. That spread is called the VIG, the vigorish, however you want to think about it. It's kind of like a stockbroker. They'll tell you, hey, I'll buy this stock for $10 or I'll sell it for $11. They make money by a spread. It's like a car dealer. You go into the car dealer, you're like, yo, I want to sell my car. They buy your car for $10,000 and then they flip and they try to sell it for $15,000. It's the same car. They'll buy it from you for $10,000 because you want to sell your car, and then they try to sell it for $15,000 to someone who wants to buy a car, right? They make money by charging a spread. It's not like you go to the car dealer and they're like, yo, you owe us $2,000 and then we'll sell your car. That's not how it works. So you can see here, right? Pinnacle has their spread baked in. So what we need to do is we need to remove the spread. We need to remove the VIG. It's kind of like, and that gets you your no VIG odds, which is the same as your fair odds. So this is a really important concept. This is the most important calculator, I always say, in sports betting, a no-vig odds calculator. So I definitely recommend reading through this text, understanding what is no-vig odds, what's a no-vig odds calculator, how does it work? But it's pretty simple, right? If you go to a car dealer and he buys your car for $10,000, then he's trying to sell it for $15,000, he charged a $5,000 spread. So he thought the true price, or the no VIG price, the no spread price of your car would be the midpoint, right? He thought your car was worth 12.5K, $12,500. So he bought it from you for $10,000. Then he sold it for $15,000, right? He charged a spread. So when you're trying to figure out what's the fair price, right, you got to remove the spread. Like a stockbroker, I'll buy this stock for $10, I'll sell it for $11. Okay, well, the midpoint is $10.50. And that's what they think the stock is truly worth, the fair price, the no-vig price, right? So not super complicated. All this calculator does is it removes the VIG. That's how sportsbooks make money, right? It's not like you go to Pinnacle to place a bet and, they say, hey, you owe us $5. They make money by baking the VIG or the juice into their market, right? So what we do is we strip out the VIG. So you're going to see once we remove the VIG, the over half of a first half total goal, right, is the favored outcome, would be minus 194.27 odds right here, right? That's the no VIG odds, minus 194.27, right? The under is plus 194.27. So we just said earlier, right, if a team is a plus 200 underdog, they're 2-to-1 to win the game, a third to win the game, 33.33%. So this is almost plus 200. So it's a little more than a third, right? So the under, long story short, according to Pinnacle's market, the under is a little more than a third to hit, 33.98%. So 0.3398, right? So now we have our first play, right? This one right here. We're using Pinnacle's market. We strip out the VIG. And once you strip out the VIG, you see, hey, the under is, roughly a plus 194 underdog. So it's roughly 33.98% to win, according to Pinnacle, one of the smartest sports books out there, the sharpest bookmaker. right? And again, like, so why is this bet profitable? Sweden, Italy, right? This bet is, again, it's an underdog, right? But we're getting the true odds, or the no-vig odds with the vig removed, the true price is plus 194. We're getting plus 235. So we're always getting better odds than the no-vig odds. So this no-vig odds is plus 199. Again, OddsJam uses, all sports books to figure out, what the market average is with the vig removed. So essentially, OddsJam is saying, hey, if you strip out the vig from all these sports books and you take an average, the price is roughly plus 199. That's the no vig odds. With the vig removed, this is the fair price for the under. The true price for the under is plus 199, right? You go to every sports book, you strip out the vig with the vig remover calculator. Again, you got to do that. That's how sports books make money. They bake in a spread. So to figure out what do they think the true price is, you got to remove the spread, right? You got to remove the vig. So once you do that for every sports book, the average throughout the market is plus 199. We're getting plus 235 on Fliff. So we're getting better odds, or we're getting value to the no-vig odds, right? We know that this bet is fairly priced. If you strip out the vig from every sports book, the fair price is plus 199. We're getting plus 235 on Fliff, right? So we're getting better odds than the no-vig odds, so this bet is profitable. But again, to simplify this parlay, calculation, we're only looking at Pinnacle's market, right? Just because it would be way too complicated to do this for every single sports book and then try to, run through how the math of a parlay works. So it's like, okay, cool. Now I need to go to my next bet, right? So my next bet is England versus Denmark, and you're going to see the profit margins a little lower. I could have played this as a straight bet, but again, I decided to include this in my parlay because why not, right? Parlays can be profitable. You just have to understand the math behind them. So you're going to see here, right? Pinnacle has this plus 186, plus 168, minus 203. So what we do is we go here, we strip out the vig. The true price is plus 179, right? According to Pinnacle, according to every sports book in the market, right? This no-vig odds, again, is based on every sports book. So according to every sports book in the market, the true price with the vig removed is plus 187. Once again, we're getting better odds than the no-vig odds. We're getting plus 205 on Fliff, right? So we found a play with an edge, a profitable bet, a bet with a positive profit margin. So this play is profitable. So this play is 35.77% to win, right? Literally just taking the no-vig line from Pinnacle, right? And again, like, you have to remember, this is how every sports book works. The way the sharpest sports book out there, Pinnacle, works is pretty simple. They have a model that says, hey, we think this bet is this percent likely to hit, right? So Pinnacle's model is saying, hey, we think the over is 64% to win, and we think the under is roughly 36% to win. So then they figure out this is what we believe the odds should be, and then they bake in a spread, right? It's kind of like a stockbroker or a car dealer being like, this guy wants, I think his car's worth $12,500. So I'm going to try to buy it from him for $10,000, and then I'm going to try to flip it for $15,000. That's how they make money. So when you see the car dealer's market, you can just remove it. You're going the opposite direction, right? The way a car dealer works is they say, I think that's worth 12.5K, so I'm going to buy it for 10K. I'm going to sell it for 15K. That's how people make money when their business model is charging a spread, just like a sports book. So we're just going the opposite direction. We're saying we know Pinnacle's market has vig baked in, so we're going to back out what do they think the true price is without the vig, right? And you're going to see it's plus 180. We're getting plus 205 on Fliff, so this bet is profitable. And this plays 35.77% to win. Cool. And then we have an MLB player prop, right? And to a lot of people, it's so random. It's like, oh, you have soccer bets and MLB bets, but I've explained this before. Like, I don't care at all. Like, you'll see my Underdog Fantasy bets, right? I got esports here. I got NFL bets here, right? And one of my most profitable sports books right here, Underdog Fantasy. And you're going to see, like, I'm quite simply betting, big three. I'm just betting on wherever I can find an edge, right? Whatever plays I can find an edge on, baseball, esports, whatever. So, that's kind of the best way to bet on sports. Like, it all boils down to the math. It all boils down to finding discrepancies in the market. So if there's better bets in soccer, I'll place more soccer bets. If there's better bets in the MLB, I'll place more MLB bets. So we can see here, Pinnacle has their market plus 110, minus 145. So the sharpest bookmaker is pricing their under at minus 145. Fliff has this minus 110, right? So from a gut check, it's like, yeah, we're getting pretty good value. DraftKings has this minus 135. Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker out there, pricing this at minus 145. We're getting minus 110 on Fliff. It's like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. So this bet is a favorite, right? In this case, the under is the favorite outcome, minus 145, right? So what we can do is we can strip out the VIG, and according to Pinnacle, this plays 55.41% to win. Boom. So now we have the win probability for each of our bets. All three plays were profitable. They're positive EV, right? From OddsJam, just from the positive EV tool, every play is profitable. We now know the win probability for each of our bets, so we know the win probability for our parlay. You multiply these three numbers together, right? And then you can back out the profit margin on your parlay. I'm betting 250 to win at plus 1850 odds, right? That's the odds of my parlay. So I'm betting 250 to win 4.6K. So I can figure out the profit margin on my parlay, right? 6.7% of the time, I'm winning this much profit. The rest of the time, my parlay is going to lose. You know, the other 93.3% of the time, my parlay is going to lose, right? And I'm going to lose my stake of $250. So long story short, once you go through everything, you're going to see the profit margin on this parlay is $78. And I'll include this in the description. And it may be a little confusing, but we have a bunch of videos about how to go through the math behind, you know, how to calculate the profit margin of your parlay, how the math behind parlays work. It's early in the morning. I'm literally doing this on a live stream. So if I didn't explain anything in the best way, I'll also include my email in the description. You can feel free to reach out. But basically, you know, I give out a fair amount of parlays sometimes on Twitter. So just wanted to kind of explain how the math behind parlays works, just so, you know, some people who care about the math can kind of watch it and understand. So thanks so much for your time. Have a great one.